Today we will summarize the book The Richest Man in Babylon by Clason. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 of The Richest Man in Babylon begins with a group of men, including the narrator, discussing their financial difficulties in the city of Babylon. One of the men, named Bansir, complains that he is unable to earn enough money to meet his expenses despite working hard. Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, overhears their conversation and offers to share his wisdom on wealth and money management. Arkad begins by telling them the story of how he became wealthy. He was once a post-scribe, working long hours for a meager wage. After realizing that he was never going to become wealthy this way, he decided to seek the advice of a wealthy money lender named Algamish. Algamish agreed to teach him the principles of wealth, provided that Arkad followed his advice and saved a portion of his income. Algamish taught Arkad the first principle of wealth: a part of all you earn is yours to keep. He advised Arkad to save at least 10% of his income and to use the remaining 90% to pay for his expenses. Arkad followed Algamish's advice, saved his money, and invested it wisely, ultimately becoming the wealthiest man in Babylon. Arkad tells the men that this principle of saving at least 10% of their income is the first step towards building wealth. He urges them to practice this principle and not be discouraged by their current financial difficulties. The chapter ends with the men realizing the value of Arkad's advice and pledging to save a portion of their income to start their own journey towards financial success. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 of The Richest Man in Babylon is titled The Man Who Desired Gold. The chapter begins with the story of Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, being approached by a young man named Bansir who is a chariot builder and desires to become wealthy. Arkad agrees to teach Bansir the secrets to financial success and asks him to follow his teachings strictly. The first lesson that Arkad teaches Bansir is to always pay himself first. Arkad advises Bansir to keep aside 1/10 of his earnings and save them for his future financial security. He advises him to be disciplined with his expenses and save only after taking care of his essential needs. The second lesson is to seek advice from those who are experienced and successful in the field of wealth building. Arkad advises Bansir to approach wealthy money lenders and ask them for guidance on investing his savings. He also warns him against taking advice from those who are not successful in their own financial matters. The third lesson is to invest his savings wisely. Arkad suggests that Bansir should only invest in ventures that he understands and has confidence in. He advises him to be cautious and not to invest in ventures that seem too good to be true or are speculative in nature. The chapter ends with Arkad assuring Bansir that if he follows these 3 lessons with discipline and patience, he too can become wealthy like him. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 of The Richest Man in Babylon is titled The 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. In this chapter, Arkad tells his friends about 7 simple but powerful principles that can help anyone achieve financial success. The first cure is to start thy purse to fattening. This means that one should always pay themselves first by setting aside at least 10% of their income for savings before paying any other bills or expenses. The second cure is to control thy expenditures. Arkad advises his friends to live below their means and avoid unnecessary expenses that don't contribute to their overall financial goals. The third cure is to make thy gold multiply. This means that one should invest their savings wisely in ventures that have the potential to generate a return. The fourth cure is to guard thy treasures from loss. Arkad advises his friends to be cautious with their investments and to seek advice from experts before making any major financial decisions. The fifth cure is to make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Arkad recommends that his friends consider investing in real estate as a means of generating additional income. The sixth cure is to ensure a future income. Arkad advises his friends to think ahead and make provisions for their future financial security, such as by saving for retirement or purchasing life insurance. The seventh cure is to increase thy ability to earn. Finally, Arkad reminds his friends that the most reliable way to achieve wealth is to continually work to improve one's skills and abilities, which will increase their earning potential over time. Overall, the 7 cures serve as simple but powerful principles that anyone can follow to achieve financial success and build wealth over time. Chapter 4. Chapter 4 of The Richest Man in Babylon is titled The Clay Tablets from Babylon. The chapter begins with the arrival of a caravan of traders from Babylon to the city of Nineveh, which includes a rich money lender named Arkad. Upon learning of Arkad's wealth and success, several people from Nineveh approach him seeking financial advice. Arkad agrees to share his secrets to wealth with them and begins by telling them about the importance of saving money. Arkad advises his listeners to start saving a part of their earnings, no matter how small the amount may be, and to keep it safe and secure. He emphasizes the importance of making regular savings and investing them wisely to earn interest. Arkad also stresses the need to spend money wisely and not to waste it on unnecessary expenses. The money lender then tells his listeners the story of his own journey to wealth. He reveals that he was once a proscribe who was struggling to make ends meet. He became frustrated with his financial situation and decided to seek the advice of a wealthy man named Algamish. Algamish mentored Arkad and taught him the principles of saving and investing money. Arkad diligently followed Algamish's advice and eventually became the richest man in Babylon. Arkad concludes his advice by reminding his listeners that wealth does not come overnight, but through hard work, determination, and following the right principles. He encourages them to begin saving and investing their money wisely, and to seek the advice of wise and successful people to guide them on their journey to financial success. Chapter 5. Chapter 5 of The Richest Man in Babylon is titled The 5 Laws of Gold. The chapter tells the story of Bansir, a chariot builder, and Kabi, a musician. Bansir and Kabi were good friends and often discussed their desire to become wealthy. One day, they came across Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, and asked him to teach them the secret to wealth. Arkad agreed to teach them and told them that the key to wealth is to understand and follow the 5 laws of gold. The first law is to save at least 1/10 of your income. Arkad explains that if you start saving early and consistently, your wealth will grow over time. The second law is to control your expenditures. It's important to live below your means and avoid unnecessary expenses that could hinder your wealth-building efforts. The third law is to make your gold work for you. You should put your savings to work by investing in profitable ventures that will earn you more money. The fourth law is to guard your investments. You should only invest in ventures that you understand and have thoroughly researched to ensure their success. The fifth and final law is to seek the advice of knowledgeable experts. You should seek the advice of experienced professionals before making any major investments to ensure that you make sound financial decisions. Arkad explains that following these 5 laws will help anyone become wealthy over time. Bansir and Kabi take Arkad's advice to heart and start following the laws of gold, which eventually leads them to financial success. Chapter 6. Chapter 6 of The Richest Man in Babylon is titled The 5 Laws of Gold. In this chapter, Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, shares with his friend Dabasir the 5 laws of gold that have helped him to accumulate and keep his wealth. The first law of gold is to save at least 10% of your earnings. Arkad explains that a portion of everything you earn is yours to keep, and that the more you save, the more you will have to invest and grow your wealth. The second law of gold is to control your expenses. Arkad emphasizes the importance of living within your means and not spending more than you earn. He suggests creating a budget and tracking your expenses to identify areas where you can cut back. The third law of gold is to make your gold work for you. Arkad advises investing your savings in profitable ventures that will generate a return on your investment. He warns against investing in risky ventures or entrusting your wealth to those who lack experience or integrity. The fourth law of gold is to guard your treasures from loss. Arkad cautions against taking unnecessary risks with your wealth and recommends diversifying your investments to minimize risk. He also advises protecting your wealth by seeking the advice of experts and insuring your assets against loss. The fifth law of gold is to make of your dwelling a profitable investment. Arkad explains that your home is one of your most valuable assets and can be used to generate income. He suggests renting out a portion of your home or using it to operate a business. Overall, this chapter emphasizes the importance of financial discipline, prudent investment, and risk management in building and preserving wealth. Chapter 7. Chapter 7 of The Richest Man in Babylon begins with Arkad's success story, as he becomes the wealthiest man in Babylon. His friends approach him to seek his guidance on how they too can achieve financial success. Arkad agrees to teach them his secrets, and the following principles are discussed. 1. Start thy purse to fattening. Arkad emphasizes the importance of saving at least 10% of one's income and putting it to work, earning interest. 2. Control thy expenditures. One must learn to live within one's means and avoid unnecessary expenses. 3. Make thy gold multiply. It is important to invest one's money wisely, seeking the advice of experts if necessary. 4. Guard thy treasures from loss. One must be cautious and protect one's investments from possible loss. 5. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. One can own one's home and use it as a means of generating income, such as renting out a portion of the property. 6. Ensure a future income. One must plan for the future and make wise investments to ensure a steady income in retirement. 7. Increase thy ability to earn. One must continually improve oneself and acquire new skills to increase one's earning potential. Arkad stresses that these principles are not complex or difficult, but require discipline and determination to follow. He also encourages his friends to share these principles with others, so that they too can achieve financial success. Chapter 8. Chapter 8 of The Richest Man in Babylon is titled The Luckiest Man in Babylon. This chapter tells the story of Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, and how he became wealthy. Arkad is visited by a group of old friends who have fallen on hard times and seek his advice on how to become rich like him. Arkad is happy to share his wisdom and tells them that he was not always rich, but rather learned the principles of wealth from his mentor, Algamish. Arkad reveals to his friends that he had once been a postscribe who had saved a portion of his income every month until he had accumulated enough money to invest in a profitable enterprise. He then reinvested his earnings and continued to grow his wealth. Arkad explains that the key to wealth is not luck, but rather discipline and perseverance in saving and investing. He also explains the 7 cures for a lean purse, which are: 1. Start thy purse to fattening. Save at least 10% of thy income. 2. Control thy expenditures. Budget thy expenses and live within thy means. 3. Make thy gold multiply. Invest wisely in profitable enterprises. 4. Guard thy treasures from loss. Protect thy investments from theft or loss. 5. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Own thy own home and make it an asset. 6. Ensure a future income. Invest in thy own education or business to ensure future earnings. 7. Increase thy ability to earn. Continuously improve thy skills and abilities to increase thy earning potential. Arkad emphasizes that these principles have worked for him and they will work for anyone who is willing to put in the effort to implement them. He encourages his friends to start implementing these principles and to avoid making excuses or blaming their circumstances for their lack of wealth. Chapter 9. Chapter 9 of The Richest Man in Babylon is titled The Luckiest Man in Babylon. In this chapter, the reader is introduced to a man named Bansir, who was once a chariot builder but now works as a camel trader. Despite his hard work and diligence, Bansir has never managed to save any money, and he begins to feel that he is simply unlucky. One day, Bansir meets a man named Kabi, who has made a fortune as a musician. Bansir is surprised to learn that Kabi doesn't attribute his success to luck, but rather to a willingness to take risks and make investments. Kabi encourages Bansir to stop feeling sorry for himself and start taking action to improve his financial situation. Bansir takes Kabi's advice to heart and begins to explore investment opportunities. He makes some initial mistakes, but eventually learns how to make smart investments and start accumulating wealth. He also realizes that he has been luckier than he thought, as he has always had the ability to work hard and learn from his mistakes. The chapter concludes with Bansir reflecting on his journey and realizing that his newfound success is the result of his own efforts, rather than luck. The lesson for the reader is that success in life is not determined by luck, but rather by one's willingness to take risks and make smart investments. Chapter 10. Chapter 10 of The Richest Man in Babylon is titled The Luckiest Man in Babylon. The chapter tells the story of Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, and how he became wealthy through his wise financial decisions and actions. Arkad is now an old man, and he agrees to share his story with a group of young men who desire to become wealthy. Arkad reveals that he was once a proscribe who struggled to make ends meet. He realized that he needed to change his ways and seek the advice of the richest man in Babylon. After meeting with the rich man, he learned the importance of saving at least 1/10 of his income and investing it wisely. He also learned that he must seek the advice of knowledgeable and experienced individuals when making investments. Arkad followed these principles and became wealthy over time. He is now considered the luckiest man in Babylon because of his wealth and the fact that he had the knowledge and wisdom to acquire it. The chapter ends with Arkad sharing his secret to success, which is that wealth comes from a series of small and consistent financial decisions made over time. He encourages the young men to follow his example and take control of their financial future by making wise decisions and investing their money wisely. In conclusion, The Richest Man in Babylon by Richest Clason is a classic book that teaches financial principles through the parables and stories of the people of Babylon. The book emphasizes the importance of saving, investing, and making sound financial decisions in order to achieve financial success and build wealth. Throughout the book, the author stresses the importance of taking control of one's finances and making wise decisions. The characters in the book are able to achieve success through a combination of hard work, discipline, and financial knowledge. They learn to live within their means, save a portion of their income, and invest wisely. The book teaches readers the importance of setting financial goals, creating a budget, and sticking to it. It also emphasizes the value of taking calculated risks and investing in opportunities that have the potential to yield high returns. Overall, The Richest Man in Babylon provides timeless financial advice that is still relevant today. Its principles are simple, yet powerful, and can help anyone achieve financial success and security. Thank you for listening. Please share, like, and subscribe to our channel.